One. Daryl, how's it
Justin,
going?
great brother. How are you?
I'm super. It was so cool to see you the other day. I was like, I know that guy. That was so fun.
What a coincidence, right?
I know, right?
If there's such a thing.
Yeah, you're touching on some big concepts right there. But yeah, agreed. Yeah, I mean, I've kind of connected a little bit with that gentleman. I think my dad and him connected about the prison ministries or the jail, whatever he calls it.
Yeah.
I hope.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. You're not involved with that, are you?
No,
No,
no.
no, no. Yeah, yeah, me neither. Anyway, so I hope they but I wanted to, everybody's mind or everybody's talking about Charlie Kirk. Do you have any
Right?
strong opinions or do you think he kind of had it coming or what do you think?
Well, I don't think anybody has that coming,
Right?
Justin, regardless of what their opinions are. Okay.
Right.
So let me put that out there to start with. I mean, I didn't know who Charlie Kirk was. I wasn't familiar with any of his beliefs or anything like that.
Okay.
Kind of ironically, he's doing something on America's comeback, and I was starting to make a little comeback myself in my life, and I was writing the greatest comeback of all time,
Okay.
which was a story about my transformation and myself, which once I really looked at it, I said, hey, you know what? The planet's doing the same thing while I'm doing this. So I said, actually, the Earth's comeback is making the greatest comeback of all time. But back to what you said about Charlie Kirk, no one deserves to be shot like that
Yeah.
or treated like that for their beliefs.
Yeah, I didn't agree with everything that he talked about, especially on some of the things about immigration, just
Hmm.
because, that's near and dear to my heart with my, wife being she wasn't born in this country. Some people would
Okay.
call her, illegal, even though she's not. She has paperwork, but she's actually not only, she's actually documented, but
Right.
she's in this, people say this great, this dreamer, what Obama did, DACA.
Right.
And so I don't know if you know of any other dreamers, but they're kind of in this limbo. And it's like if you talk to Charlie Kirk, or he was like, no, kick him out. And it's like, what the heck? These
Right.
people have been here their whole lives. I mean, it's my wife was brought here when she was 2 months old,
What is she?
not her
Is she
from
a
Mex she was born in Mexico,
okay, I didn't know
and
that,
yeah, and
Justin.
she didn't make the choice to come here. Somebody else made the choice for her,
Eh,
and, so, I mean, I agreed with it sounds like you were that he wasn't really on your radar. He was on my radar big time just
mhm,
from I've seen him speak multiple times, and
right,
he was kind of a controversial character. I mean, obviously, I was surprised, nobody, any kind of assassination, but it's just,
right.
man, I mean, everybody's talking about it. Do you see the same thing or
Well, no, what I seen in that was I see that his death is a mirror and showing the cost of the division amongst us as humans. And
Yeah.
as long as we have those divisions like that, I think that the outcomes are uncertain and we
Mhm.
never really know what could happen because, even Jesus Christ said it himself. Any kingdom divided amongst himself cannot stand. And it's
Yeah.
not necessarily in just United States. It's the planet. It's not this state or that state, this country or that country, this color or that color, this race or that race. It's we're all human.
Yeah.
Until we
Yeah.
unify ourselves as humans, that division is going to create situations like we had yesterday, unfortunately, in my
Yeah, I
opinion.
think I think I'm strongly of the opinion that we need to not hide or I guess, yeah, just hide or be demonstrative to the idea of conflict. We need to understand that
Yeah.
conflict is gonna happen. So that's just a given. I mean, you're not gonna always get along. So
Well,
look, let's make a plan. The conflict's gonna because a lot of times people think I let me just talk about conflict for a second because I feel like a lot of people when I say conflict immediately they kind of go to something negative. It doesn't have to be negative. You
right.
can actually great things can come from conflict. It's just
Mhm,
how you handle the conflict.
mhm.
If you do it in a respectful and loving manner, great things can come out of that because and I mean, let me just break down conflict a little simpler. It's just the idea that you might see something A and I might see something B. Therefore, there's kind of a little bit of a conflict there. So that it doesn't have to be a negative thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
What do you think about that?
I think the conflict comes from us not being unified and us not, some people think that war is necessary and it's not.
Mhm.
It will never bring about peace And I think if peace were the ideal, there'd be less conflict.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about the idea, I'm kinda going or I'm taking it to a little bit of a tangent or whatever. So when you talk about war, we had something I was pretty young in the '80s and '90s.
Mhm.
I'm 47. You're younger than me or older?
I'm 66.
Are you really?
I am.
Wow, you look great. Okay.
You thought I was
Wow.
younger than you?
I
You
thought
just seen me the other day.
I know, I thought I don't know, you look like could be in your 40s. You're in amazing shape. Okay, well, you're like my and so, one thing you bring up war, something that happened in our country was the Cold War. So
Right,
it's just interesting that, here's something that's classified as a war, yet there was never really, a gun fired or a missile launched or,
right,
it's interesting the idea of war. I mean, when you think World War One, World War II, that's a military conflict. Um,
right.
the Cold War, it's just my point. I don't know if I want to say that war has, I mean, I don't know. It's just an interesting perspective or something to look at that, more than just war as far as like fighting with guns and cannons or whatever, the whole like,
There
trade embargoes and, there's a
right.
lot of things you can kind of implement these days.
Well, they're philosophical ideology conflicts, and
Mhm.
then, ironically, and looking behind all the scenes, all the wars are funded by the same people. So, but those are completely other different lengthy conversations that we could get into about it.
No, let's
Well,
do it because I feel like war is I mean, that's how, before in the it's it was I feel like there's some great power that's somehow profiting off a war.
yeah,
Do
there
you
is,
Yeah,
there
and
is.
that's not good for us as citizens.
Well, no,
That
it's not good
because
for the people because the masses of the people don't want war.
Right, I don't want war.
Right, they
Yeah,
don't want war, and they're the only ones that get killed in it. The hierarchy,
exactly.
the people that are higher up, I mean, the only way these guys could be even be considering nuclear war right now is they got bunkers to go to.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
don't. The
exactly,
masses
exactly.
don't. The masses don't have that. Unfortunately for us, our ancestors and our brothers and sisters who we consider aliens, but who have never really left this planet, will not allow that ever to happen here.
Okay,
It will not happen.
I like that.
And
Talk to
I
me, what
can
do you mean?
guarantee you that. I can guarantee you that it will never happen on this
Okay,
planet.
that's good, I like to hear can you expand on that, or what do you I've never heard that concept before.
Well, here the concept is really simple, and it's like this:
Okay,
we are in a galaxy that's a galactic federation. We're not the only species of intelligent beings in this universe.
okay,
Okay, and for us to have a nuclear war
mhm.
would send out vibrations and have repercussions throughout the whole galaxy. And because the galaxy is basically benevolent, it will not allow this to happen. Plus, the Earth's consciousness is being risen as we speak to the point where it's going to transcend. Love's about to conquer hate. Unity is about to kill separation, and peace is about to come in over evil.
I like that. How do I jump on board with that?
With your heart. That's where it would
Okay,
start. It would start inside your heart. It's like there's a green glow that comes out of our heart chakra right now. I actually sent mine out to the entire world. And that's just because there's so much confusion, there's so much disarray, there's so much chaos, there's so much uncertainty after everybody witnessed what happened to Charlie Kirk the other day. They're like, wow, where's this world going? Everything's out of
mhm,
control. Nobody can do anything. That guy got killed just for what he thought. They need to relax, they need to get calm, they need to calm down because although something like that happened, there's a better future coming up.
1. Okay, we're back, sorry about that. I'm so fascinated by what you're saying here, Daryl, I love this. I like the idea of hope, and, it
Well,
sounds like what you're talking about is hope.
it is hope. The earth is going through an ascension process right now. Remember I was telling you I was writing a book about the greatest comeback of all time?
You were just saying that not when I saw you the other day, just right now.
No, no, just right now. Yes.
Yeah,
And in the midst of doing that, right, I'm looking at the earth and its process. You see, the earth for so long has been in this shadow of separation,
mhm,
illusion,
mhm,
fear, and discord.
mhm,
And That's been the general theme on this planet for centuries.
Mhm.
Well, that's changing. It's about to go with love, unity, and peace.
I like that. Okay, well, that's exciting. Is there
It
any
is.
idea, like, when that is that gonna happen soon or, like, in 10 years from now or
Well,
next
no,
year?
no, it's closer than 10 years. It's actually closer than 10 years. And see, what has to happen is the consciousness, the collective consciousness of the people on this planet it's risen significantly, but it
Mhm,
needs to rise a little bit more. It's almost ready because, like, for example, I'm going to give you a hypothetical example that's real, but we're going to say it's not real. Imagine if ships from the Pleiades, the Arcturians, the Lemurians, and the Syrians showed up right now. I mean, they flooded the skies with these ships. They removed their cloaks and everybody could witness it. There would be
mhm,
so many different arrays of response to the vision of that and the thought of that because people would immediately think of what we've been raised on fear and war. They're here
mhm,
invading us. They're gonna attack us. They're coming in peace.
mhm.
They're coming in peace. If they were
Right,
gonna attack us, they could have attacked us centuries ago, okay?
right.
They are not here to attack us. They're our brothers and sisters. They're here to love us. They're here to help
Okay.
us.
So you're saying we're close, but we're not quite ready.
We're close. Well, you look at what happened yesterday. Now, I'm not
Yeah.
saying that what happened yesterday is the collective consciousness of that's how everybody thinks, because it's not. But
Mhm,
it's a frequency that we've been locked into for a while. Like the person that did that, think of it this way, right? The person that did that thinks it's a solution. Well, you
mhm.
actually made his beliefs and what he was doing stronger.
I wanna make it the opposite of that. I wanna
Exactly, exactly. But the person that did that actually made I mean, because now everybody's looking at Charlie Kirk and going, well, what was his beliefs? What was his ideals? People that didn't know anything about him want to know about him now because he got killed.
right. No,
You know,
that's
it's all
I think what you're touching on is absolutely 100% correct, and I hate to really talk about my own ideology on here, but I think the story of Jesus is pretty well documented,
pretty
and
close to the same thing. They killed
when he
him because of his ideals.
and the idea and he was coming into Jerusalem and, the opposing side was basically saying, "Look at this. He's falling right into our trap." When
Right.
the reality of it was, no, 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 they were falling, I don't wanna call it a trap, but I'll say a plan. They were falling right into his plan, as were the
Well,
opposite, they thought that he was falling right into their trap. So you're basically saying, it's kinda like that a little bit.
well, look at it like this, right? They killed Jesus Christ thinking, you know what? Let's just kill him and do away with him. They set up
Mhm.
his legacy still alive today in the hearts of many people.
Right.
You didn't kill him.
Right.
You made him
Exactly.
bigger. You made
Yeah.
him bigger.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I'm hoping for, Daryl. I'm hoping to I mean, not that I'm some amazing person, but I believe that the creator uses
Well, no,
small
no, no,
people.
no,
Yeah.
no. You are.
Mhm.
You have the same seed of God in you that I have in me,
Mhm.
that we all have, that
Right.
Christ had. Christ even said it himself. He says, greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world.
Right.
And he
Yeah.
also said, the kingdom of God is within you. He wasn't
Right.
just talking about them. He's talking about you, Justin, and he's talking about me too.
So you're basically saying, like, we all have a part to play, and we gotta play it. We gotta have the courage to play it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
1,000%. Absolutely. And when we unify the source within us together, it's an unstoppable force that cannot be beaten. It cannot be defeated, and it will win.
Yes, I like that. I like that. The attitude that there's one of my things that I try to move forward is this idea of getting rid of. I don't want to talk too much about it because that's on our agenda for today, but it's getting rid of the IRS. And a lot of times
Okay.
when I talk to people about that,
Mhm.
immediately they just say, "That'll never happen. That's never gonna happen." And,
It will
you know, what I
happen.
what I like to say is, "Not with an attitude like that. Do
No, it will
you
happen. It
yeah,
will
do
happen.
you when you come across, because I feel like some of these things you're sharing or saying, Daryl, are a little out there, and
Mhm.
hopefully you're understanding for me that like it, and I think it's very positive, and I want these things to
Do you
happen that
know
you're saying. I
do
but
you know
I
why
just
it's
wanna
out
say,
there?
don't you feel like you get a lot of opposition, just kind of, like, "That'll never happen," you know?
They're unaware. But it's only because they're unaware. It's only because they're unaware and they're unfamiliar with it. And they're also locked into the frequency that's been holding the planet for thousands of years. That doesn't mean it won't happen.
How do we break that frequency? How do we
We're
disrupt
we're
it? How do we
we're in the process of it right now. Gee,
Okay.
okay, so look at the examples that we've been able to go on recently. You know that, 100 people in a meditative process, meditation on peace, love, and unity have knocked down the crime rate by 20 to 35% over a weekend in certain cities where they prayed, where they meditated together.
Wow. If you
So,
wait, hold on, what sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but, do you know about the gentleman that was on, Joe Rogan recently? His last name is Campbell.
what'd he say?
He's he talks about he has a whole book that he wrote about meditation, and he basically says when when you're making decisions or when you're trying to decide, discern,
Mhm,
wisdom, when
mhm,
you're trying to decide to go left or right, most
mhm,
people or the cultural thing is about logic. Logic is there's put a lot of weight into logic. And that's always the way he had thought. He has his doctorate. He's a you know a strong or what was he a strong some smart guy at university, and he always
okay,
put a lot of weight on logic. Well, he was doing these code kind of things where you're writing code, and I guess the way you used to do it was with paper punch cards. Like it
uh,
wasn't like on a computer screen, like ones and zeros. It was like punches in a paper.
mhm,
Well, he was doing these things. This is in the 70s, by the way. So,
mhm,
I
mhm,
mean, and he said, the computer would take up the whole room. Well, he would have to do these things like 24 hours or he would lose his spot. And so he was, one of the things that would suffer was his sleep. Well, he
mhm,
saw this paper, a post, about doing meditation so you can get less sleep. So
right,
he's like, well, I need less sleep. So he
mhm,
went to this thing and he just took to it like a fish to water. I mean, meditation was just like his second nature. So, and again, this is a guy that's extremely, what is it, left brain? That's like logic, like,
okay,
or at least he thought he was.
um,
And he jumped into this meditative state, and all of a sudden, in this meditative state, he could see his code perfectly and see all the errors and all the mistakes he was making. And he said the first time he went, he thought he was in there for 15, 20 minutes, and
mhm,
they had to knock him on the shoulder and be like, "Hey, wake up, time to go." And he was in there for like 8 or 9 hours, and it felt
right,
like 10 or 15
right,
minutes.
right.
And he, came out and he was able to analyze his code perfectly from his basically, he says that, "No, no, 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 actually logic and making decisions that way is inferior,
It's
less.
flawed.
And actually the better way to make decisions
It's
is
through your
from
heart.
the intuition, that meditative state
Right,
that you get from, like, a
right.
different dimension," he kind of calls
Sure,
it, like, a
of course, of course.
anyway, so it sounds like you're really tapped into that, Daryl, because 'cause I'm fascinated with that realm, if
Well,
you will.
what that is what you're talking about is the difference between heart-brain coherence versus an intelligence or a logical response. And an intelligent or logical response is flawed.
Yeah.
Human intelligence is not intelligent.
Mhm.
Okay. It's caught up in division, it's caught up in prejudices, it's caught up in separation. It's flawed by these things. Even the educational system is flawed. So that'll let you know our intelligence is flawed. Your heart is not flawed. It's your
Okay.
higher self. It's a
Okay.
higher point of yourself, which is multidimensional, which existed long before you existed in this body. See, everybody thinks that we're these physical beings having a spiritual experience. We're not. We're a spiritual being having a physical experience, and
Okay.
they get it backwards. So when you tap into your inner source of yourself, like in Star Wars they say, may the force be with you. It's actually
Yeah.
may the source be with you, because
Okay.
once that happens, you're connected to that divine part of you that can lead you in the right direction.
Yeah.
It's grounded in love,
Mhm.
unity, and peace.
Okay. See, I strongly believe that the creator of this universe is a creator of complete love. I know, when I say that, people are like, "Wow, gosh, look at this, negative thing that happened. Why, look at this bad thing that happened." And
Mhm.
I get it. It's the jump from understanding that love and free will have to be tied together.
They
And and
do.
and and if you separate the 2, then it's not really love or free will. It's not really, You have to have those 2 tied together. So it's not that a loving God really allows that kinda stuff to happen. It's just that a loving God, since he has to allow free will and he's created things that he doesn't have that kind of he doesn't control their free will, they're
Exactly.
gonna make bad decisions,
Exactly.
and people don't
Exactly.
like the idea of, well, it's like, well, that creator can do anything. Well, yeah, except, not be a God of love. I mean, or a creator of love. That's one thing he or she or whatever it is can't do. That being, whatever it is a being of love, and it can't break that nature. And I think if there was some sort of breaking or something of that nature, I think that it would kind of break our whole, everything that all of our existence. I
Well,
don't think it's possible.
it wouldn't give us free will and the right to make our own mistakes and learn.
Right.
We would be
Exactly.
puppets. We would all be puppets, and
Right.
we'd all be programmed to do exactly what he wanted us to do. But is that what we really want? You want free expression to live your life peacefully and happily.
I think people think that they would want, but if they actually understood it deeply, I don't think that that's what anybody would want. But because it's, not something that's fully understood. It's not
Uh-huh.
something that, if God wasn't a God of love, if he was just a or he or, I hate to say he because that's the only thing we can relate it to, but whatever that being is, if that being wasn't a being of love, then we would have a very different existence, I believe. That's just my personal belief, but
Well,
um,
there's there's nothing wrong with that belief, but it's more to it than that. I mean,
okay.
just because the creator created everything, it's like there's darkness and there's light, right?
Mhm,
So there's both.
mhm.
And the darkness isn't necessarily evil, it's just that it's an absence of light. And when light comes along, the darkness leaves.
So you're kinda like an oil water thing, like lightness and darkness can't mix
Uh,
a little bit, or they
well,
can mix in some way? Different than oil
once
and
you
water.
once you bring in the light, the darkness runs away.
Yeah. The darkness doesn't wanna be around the light. Is that what you're
It
saying?
can't be around the light. It can't
It
be because
it's
it's
just a
not dark
natural
anymore.
law.
Exactly. It's
Right.
just light. It can't be dark anymore. It's light.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Okay.
know, when the sun comes out, everybody gets some light, right? Whether
Yeah.
good, bad, or indifferent, right?
Yeah.
And that's how
Yeah.
love is. The only thing that changes it now is a frequency that we're locked into that has us divided, that has us in fear, and that has us hating each other.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
change those things. You get into unity, okay? You get into love and you get into peace, and darkness will be gone to the same way the sunlight comes out during the day.
I'm into it. I wanna get involved with that. So some of these things, frequency, there was another one, a kind of vocabulary word, something about source. Is that another word that you kinda brought up?
Well, source is just the so I'd like to say it's my belief, but it's more of a fact than my belief. It's not
Uh-huh.
something that's abstract or needs to be proven. It's just something that needs to be made aware of and activated in each person. I mean, it's been here, it is here. Everybody that's walked the earth, Buddha, Christ, Siddhartha, Zen, they've all pointed to the same source that we're talking about. You call it an awakening, enlightenment, higher consciousness. It's a source that's within us that creates life, that is our higher selves. Which just that
Okay.
we have so many layers on top of it that we can't get to it. And we have so many diverse beliefs that it's rejected and that it's not even looked at because we are into accepting things without looking at them.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you think as far as I mean, it seems like, you're making choices every single day to kind of move toward this. What's
Mhm.
somebody, hopefully I am, and maybe you don't think, but if I'm not, let me know. But what's something like if somebody's listening to this, like an audience member, what's
Okay.
something they can do choice wise as far as making decisions on a daily basis to try to move toward or stay in the
Source.
correct, yeah, any of that stuff.
Well, what they could do is they can start off with 2 or 3 minutes, and then as it gets, better, they can move up to 5 or 10 or something like that, but they've gotta go places and get quiet amongst
Mhm.
themselves, and they've
Uh-huh.
gotta they've gotta ask for, "Listen, I really need to sit down in peace. I'd like to quiet my mind and open my heart for 2
Okay.
minutes." And if they can do that, and if they do that with the intention of activating the source inside of them, the
Mhm.
Bible even says it itself, "Come near to God, and he will come near to you."
Yeah.
So that's what we have to do. We have to get alone. We have to
Mhm.
shut off the TV, the iPad, the cell
All the
phone,
screens.
and then the chaos is going on up in our heads between our 2 ears. We gotta
Mhm.
shut that down long enough to where we can actually hear that inner voice that's always there. It's almost like in cartoons, they put the good fairy and the bad fairy on your shoulders. It's really similar to that, right? But you gotta quiet it down enough to where you can
Mhm.
hear it. Most of the time, there's so much clutter and chaos going on up in people's heads that they don't hear it, and they have to be desirous of it,
Okay.
you know?
Like,
You
strongly
got
desire it.
well, you gotta want it,
Right.
But if you're sitting down going, "This is stupid, this will never work, I can't hear anything," well, then you're right, it's not gonna work and you won't hear anything.
That's the same thing Campbell said. That's the same thing he said on the Joe Rogan show.
Exactly, you know what I'm saying? You just
Yeah.
have to you just have to do that because the reason why it's the same thing he said is because it's the only way to do it, and
Yeah.
anybody that knows it knows that there's only there's only one way to do it, and that's to look inside. It's not outside of ourselves. That's another thing is when we stop looking outside of ourselves for something to come and save ourselves, that's
Mhm.
a big step. That's a huge step because the way that we save ourselves is save ourself,
Right.
and collectively, we save each other.
Yeah. I like what you're talking about. This is, I have found nothing that I disagree with. Everything you've said, I feel like really resonates with me. That
Well,
is
it's
really, yeah.
that's good. I mean, it's unity, Justin. It's just all it's trying to do is bring love into the picture, okay?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's all it's trying to do is bring love into the picture. It's trying to bring peace into the picture, okay?
Mhm.
It's trying to get the division out, get rid of the labels. Let's not, look at all the labels and stuff. Let's just why can't we all get along and be happy together?
Yeah. I
You
think,
know
yeah, I'm trying to think back, when I first, became a Christian, I was
Mhm,
really judgmental for some reason. And I'm trying to, I had another guy on named Eric that we became a Christian both in 1999. We were talking about, and he had the same kind of feeling, and both of us have like pulled a 180 with that. Like when I come across somebody, there's no. I mean, I feel like somebody could say, "Oh, I murdered this person," and I would try to like come beside him with love, like no judgment. And maybe that's good or bad, I don't know. But for me, it's like, my role is not to hate. My role is not to judge.
right,
Whatever I've been called to do, I've been called to, I don't get paid to sit up there and tell people they're going to jail for this amount of time. Nobody's paid me to be a judge. I'm not going to be it. Why would I be a judge if I'm not called to do that?
right,
Why not
right.
go the direction of love? Why not, try to come beside somebody and lift that person up versus judge them or try to tear them down. I feel like if I can lift that person up, we're all going to go up together. But I think what it is, Daryl, when you're kind of just figuring things out or whatever, you don't have a lot of confidence or you don't have a lot of, and for some reason you feel like you need to kind of like step on somebody else's head or like
Mhm.
push somebody else down to like get something or get that, it's like almost like a lacking in our own person. You know what I mean? Like, I think what
Well,
you're saying has a lot of truth to it. It's about, so I don't know. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Are you going to say?
no, Justin, the planet's been an illusion for a long time. The
Hmm.
planet's been the frequency's been fear. The
Hmm.
frequency's been hate. It's been separation for a long
Hmm.
time. And it's in the educational system. It's almost interwoven into our DNA to be against each other.
Hmm.
Because the powers that be or the powers that have been controlling everything, imagine if we were all united around the planet. They don't stand a chance.
That wouldn't be good for them,
No, it
whoever
would
them
not.
are.
No, it would they
Yeah.
don't stand a chance.
Right. Okay.
They're less than 1% of the population of the world. They would not stand a chance. Thankfully and gratefully for us, their time is real short. You'll see it in your lifetime, and so will I.
Okay. I like that. I want to see that in my life. That's super exciting. Okay.
And it's not if, it's when.
So how, okay. So, I'm just going to be frank with you here.
Okay?
I've tried to kind of do some of the meditation stuff, and
Sure.
for me, every time, and I'm sure this is a common case or whatever, I just get almost, like, overwhelmed in my head, and I can't, like, and maybe I'm just so used to being on a screen or whatever the distraction is. How do
Mhm.
you practically, let's say you're gonna sit down, however you do it, close your eyes, whatever, just try to spend some
Right.
time with yourself,
Right.
and you just get bombarded. How do you block out? Is there any, like, practical steps
So
you can
there
give people
is,
to
there is,
Okay,
there is. So let's say that you're having that problem, like you just mentioned. You could take a "I am love, I am abundance, and I am peace" into a mantra. I am love, I am abundance, I am peace. I am love, I am abundance, I am peace, and go into a mantra of it and continually say that over and 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 over. And eventually your mind will shut off because it's too busy doing this mantra. Another way is you could link up your breath. You could do a in for 8, out for 4, hold for 4, and out for 8. Okay.
okay,
You breathe in. And once you start concentrating on your breath,
mhm,
your mind goes off of what you're thinking about and centers in on you breathing. And
okay,
then once that happens, it quiets down. And it's not necessarily all the time for you to say something you're able to hear and you
okay.
can listen at that point.
Those are
Those are
2 practical things.
exactly that
Yeah,
you
number
could use.
1, a mantra, and number
Yes.
2, link up with your breath, because 'cause you're basically saying that if you do those 2 things, your
It'll shut your
mind
mind
will.
off.
Yeah,
You'll
okay,
occupy it. You'll occupy your mind and it'll stop running off into what's gonna happen today or what are we having for dinner or what's my wife doing or what are the kids doing at school. Do I gotta go pick them up? It will shut off to that. And it will concentrate on what you're trying to get it to concentrate on. The love, abundance, peace, or I mean, if you when you try it, right, you go for 6, you hold for 4, you hold for 8. When you do that 5 or 6 times, you're
mhm,
not thinking about doing anything else. You're concentrating on breathing.
yeah,
And then your
okay.
mind shuts off, and then your mind shuts off.
So those are 2 practical things. Would it divide to talk about or there maybe there isn't a 3rd thing? Those two things are probably 2 great practical things to try.
They are.
Okay, let's not divide it with a 3rd one?
Yeah, well, you could get a 3rd one, right? And the 3rd one would be, let's say that you put a candle in front of you.
Okay, something visual?
Exactly. And you concentrate on the flame of that candle.
Okay.
So your thoughts are just centered in on this candle, right?
Uh-huh. That's
You're
that
looking at
that
it.
actually I
You're
like
look
that idea a lot
you know
because
what?
I'm
You're
I'm a
looking
real
at it.
visual person.
Yeah, you're looking at it flicker and change, or well, your consciousness is gonna be centered on that flame. It's gonna shut your
Okay.
mind down. It's gonna shut your mind down.
Daryl, now that actually, the kind of the first one you're saying is kind of almost like, even though you're kinda doing it in your head, it's kinda almost like audio.
Right,
Like, if we talked about different faculties or
right,
whatever, it's almost like the audio. The
right.
second one you said is almost like a feeling, 'cause
A
you
feeling is
feel your
kinesinetic,
breath.
right? It's
Yeah, and
kinesinetic,
then the
right?
third one you're basically talking about
It's
is, like,
visual.
visual. That's really interesting. So
Mhm.
maybe it would depend on whatever, because everybody has different
Different way, would
leniencies.
depend on the person,
Right.
right,
Yeah,
right.
because some people are more visual, some people are more auditory, some people
Exactly,
are more
exactly,
touch. Yeah, that's
exactly.
interesting.
But the person's intention going in is gonna be probably, 75 to 80% of how successful they are. I'm gonna do this.
If they really want it.
Exactly. Because we
Yeah,
only do what we really desire to do. And if we really desire it enough, if we have sufficient desire and sufficient belief, anything is possible.
yeah. What about the idea of somebody is thinking, "Okay, if I do this, I might get, like, stuck, or I'm not able to, like, pull myself out." Is there any, like, fears of that? Or is
No,
there that's not really a
no,
concern or anything?
that's not really a concern. No.
Okay. So if somebody were to do this for a first time and go in that state, if they wanted to pull themselves out or whatever, they would be able to do that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'd
Okay.
love to get stuck in my higher state of consciousness, to be honest with you. I would
Well,
love that. I would
I got
love that. That would
I
keep me in a loving, peaceful, benevolent mood all day, all times, in any situation. That is my goal. Is to be in that state continuous. Like, how do I have this continuous conscious contact with my higher self? One of the
Mhm.
greatest examples that we've ever seen about this is the Bible says that Jesus fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, but he was unceasingly in prayer.
Okay. Yeah,
It's continually being connected to your higher source, what he did. So I would love to be stuck in that state.
yeah. Well, so you should really look into
Campbell?
I can text you. His name is Thomas Campbell.
Uh,
You never heard of him?
Never heard of him.
Okay. He's written 2 books on the exact not well, yeah, I mean, about meditation
Mhm,
and how you're able to tap into your intuition
mhm,
versus it was fascinating. He was on Joe Rogan 3 months ago. It was on the Joe Rogan show. I found it extremely fascinating. It really kinda
mhm,
opened my eyes, because it was like I'd kinda heard about this stuff and kind of, I saw something on TV about the idea of a mind, like, as an antenna, like,
mm,
as like, all the data isn't like, like, maybe there's something that happened in your youth, like, let's just say you were skipping a rock with Tommy or something like that. You know, when you think about that data being kept in a computer, it's kept as like some sort of data code or whatever in some sort of server room or whatnot.
You mean like the Akashic records?
Like what?
Like the Akashic records? You
What's
ever heard
that?
of that?
No,
Well, that's a record of every human and every life and every person and every thought, and
I've never heard of that. Is that
hold
something you can
on.
talk about or?
Hold on one second.
Okay.
Let me see if I can pronounce it correctly. The Akashic Records.
Okay.
It's just a recording of life. It's a
Okay.
recording of souls. It's a recording of thoughts,
Okay.
mannerisms, tendencies. Akashic Records.
And that's something that's not in our brains, right? It's like actually housed someplace else
Right.
somehow. Are you saying our brains tap into that like as an antenna or can tap into that or?
We can.
'Cause that's what I saw this show, it was actually William Shatner on, talking about the mind and talking about, like, the idea of remote viewing. So these
Uh-huh.
people that can, locate somebody anywhere in the world using their brain kinda almost like as an antenna, and I
Well,
guess
what they are is they're described in spiritual traditions as a kind of energetic library that holds a record of every soul, past, present, and future possibilities. Think of it as a universal cloud of memory. All thoughts, deeds, emotions, and experiences are stored beyond time. Some people approach it through meditation and prayer or altered states of consciousness, claiming that they can read these records for insight into their patterns of life, karma, spiritual lessons, and stuff like that. It's just it's a realm that we get to when we go inside and you get in touch with your higher self.
Mhm,
You got to remember, it's the essence of our being. It existed long before we're in this physical form vessel that we're in right now, and it will
mhm,
exist long after we're out of it.
okay.
But Justin, the biggest problem is that been living in this illusion for the longest time. Do you know who William Tompkins is?
No,
Have you
let me
ever
look
heard of
it up.
him?
No, let me look him up.
He's a naval engineer. He said that everything that we were taught on this planet is a lie.
Is it Thom? How do you spell his last name?
It's uh Thompkins. Tompkins.
William Tompkins, okay, William R. Tompkins is a American actor, says
No.
no, different guy. Alright, let me William H. Tompkins? Did he die in 1916? Okay,
He's an aerospace engineer. He worked for the Navy for years.
okay.
Hold on.
Aerospace engineer. William Tompkins, the miniature engineer, Craftsman Museum? Maybe maybe
Okay.
Google hides him.
So William Tompkins was an aerospace engineer and whistleblower who became well known later in life for his claims about secret space programs. He worked
Okay,
for Douglas Aircraft Company, later TRW, and had a bunch of defense contracts. He claims selected in his book, Selected by Extraterrestrials, he said that in 1940s he helped gather intelligence from Navy operatives who supposedly infiltrated Nazi Germany and learned of their UFO-like craft. He also claimed he was later part of projects designing U.S. Navy spacecraft carriers intended for space. Anyway, this guy said that everything that we were taught on this planet was a lie. Okay,
mhm,
when you look into this, right, it's the only way that you can have people doing what they're doing today as if they're being misled. They
mhm,
aren't being told the truth, and they're all following a theme exactly what everybody want them to follow so they don't see the truth. It's like our pineal gland. Do you know what that
mhm.
is?
No, I don't. It's a
Well, a
gland in our
pineal,
body?
it's in our body, it's in our brains, right.
Okay, I've never heard of that gland.
Oh, it's an amazing gland. It's actually our antenna out into the universe,
Okay.
but they've been calcified and, through polluted through what we drink, what we eat, the information we take in, and the vibrations that we accept to where they're basically non-operable. We don't most people don't use it at all.
No.
Yes,
Okay, I just found it here. A pineal is your gland in the middle of your brain that helps regulate your body's I can't even say this word, circadian rhythm by secreting the hormone
circadian
melatonin.
rhythm.
Circadian, yeah, circadian rhythm by secreting the hormone melatonin. I saw somebody else talk about melatonin in our bodies the other day.
Yeah.
Some
See, these things, if the average human's pineal gland was decalcified and we were using them, the people in power would not be in power.
yeah.
Period. They would not be in power because we would unite
Mhm.
as a species. We would unite in heart and spirit and in truth, and we would see beyond the veil of their lies and their illusions and the secrecy of it's like they know about extraterrestrials, if you can even consider them that, or aliens. They know about them. They are fully aware of them.
What do you think about I mean, that makes me think about something, Daryl. What do you think about the I don't know if you believe all the stories. I guess there's a sto have you ever heard of the, Tower of Babel?
Well,
The
the tower,
idea that
right? Sure, I
the i
have.
the idea that, somehow the
That was done by Anunnaki, though.
okay, I don't know, I've never heard that name before.
Well, the Anunnaki are the old see, the Anunnaki are the old aliens that came here that actually were running this earth. I mean, you when you look into that, right? That
Uh-huh,
has such implications. It says they were on this planet for they would live for 35,000 years.
okay.
I
Huh,
mean, it's like, well, wait a minute. This doesn't match up because the Bible says it's 5,000 years old, and you're saying these guys are here for 35 and he was here for 50. What's going on here?
yeah,
And
what is going on here?
it's just information that we're not being told.
But from what I understand, we were kinda unified and we were building some sort of a
Exactly.
tower, and that
Exactly.
somebody or something didn't like that, so they came and
Right.
scrambled our languages
Right.
so that we
And
weren't able to
separated.
be yeah,
And
that's just
separated.
interesting. I wonder why yeah, what was so wrong about building a tower, you know?
Well, it's not there's nothing wrong with building a tower. The problem is that the people are collective and together.
Mhm.
That's the problem. You don't
What's
want
so
the
wrong with that?
well, because you can't defeat them if they're
You
together.
can't control them.
You
You
can't
can't.
control them.
Yeah.
The only way you can control them is if you give them different labels, is if you separate them, is if you divide them and make sure they're always fighting against each other instead of agreeing with each other. That's why I said we gotta get rid of the separation and go to unity.
Yeah. It's so interesting that when this kinda stuff comes out, it seems like it gets, stifled or somehow, when it gains enough traction where it, starts to get, like, momentum,
Mhm.
somehow it gets pushed down or it gets buffered or it gets, it's like they almost have, like, their whoever they are again, almost have, like,
Right.
their finger on the pulse, and they're able to kind of
Well,
see
that
yeah.
that used to be the case. That's not the case anymore. See, with technology and you have that later on in this talk about AI and with the digital era that we're in right now, everybody has a cell phone, right? I'll tell you
Mhm,
this. There's going to be something put out by the emergency broadcast system. I don't know exactly when, but it's not in the too far distant future
mhm.
that through quantum mechanics, they're going to relate to everybody on this planet and tell them exactly what's happening. So,
Okay.
I'll tell you what, mark this day that you and I are talking. It's since September 11th.
Yeah.
I'm telling you now, the emergency broadcast system in a little bit is going to broadcast the truth.
Okay, that sounds good. The truth
It
is
is.
always good.
Truth is
Yeah.
always good. And
So what do you think of do you think
it's coming from
AI
love.
has anything to do with this or not it's
AI?
not a factor? It's not the AI is not a factor or not it's just
No.
one more distraction.
AI is not a AI is a way we're gonna find all this stuff out. If you would ask AI who William Tompkins is, what the pineal gland is for, and if we're living in an illusionary world, it will tell you the truth.
Yeah,
It will tell you the truth. Now, here's the deal though. If people have had blinders on for so long, they won't believe it.
yeah,
You know,
right.
it's like when you the first thing you find out when you study philosophy is that the truth is so plain sight that nobody believes it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's one of the truths of philosophy is that the truth is right in plain sight and no one believes it because they have been misled. They're under illusionary visions of expecting something else other than what the truth is. And
Yeah.
then, when you tell everyone, hey, it's on you. You got to look inside and connect with the source within. Now they don't have a scapegoat. You don't say, well, I was waiting for him to come save me, or well, this thing outside of me said that if I believed in it, I would be saved. You don't have that anymore. It's all put back on the responsibility of each individual.
Okay. Okay. So we better listen up. We better keep our ears open and our eyes open. Yeah.
Well, it's unavoidable. It's happening as you and I are speaking right now.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds good. I want to make sure because I think a couple things we've touched on so far. So William Tompkins, there's
Hmm.
quite a few of them, but I'll afterward I'll confirm with you because I think it would be good. I mean, it sounds like it would be good to gain awareness for this person and also
Hmm.
this gland. So I
Hmm.
think we could put that right in the because whatever I put in the description for this
Hmm.
podcast, that's
Sure.
how people find it. So
Okay.
what we talk about
Hmm.
isn't necessarily going to be like anybody can listen to it, but the things
Sure.
that's so important is what we put as far as the keywords for what we
Hmm.
discussed. So I think I wanna, but if there's any other things that we should put as far as keywords for the description to try to gain, try to get people to be aware. If you think I think it's important to try to wake people up. Do you think that's important, or is it not
Oh,
something that
absolutely,
is really
absolutely.
critical?
It's
Okay.
it's a penultimate importance. It's heart-brain coherency.
Right.
See, but what I want to talk to you about before on the other subject we were talking about was the dolphin exchange. All
Mhm.
that is a collection of people coming together, sitting with heart-brain coherence, bringing in dolphins. The
Mhm.
dolphins have sonars, okay?
Okay.
They communicate telepathically. They can
Okay.
send out our united love vibrations out into the planet. We would literally change the frequency of the planet overnight.
I have a limited understand how far can dolphins be apart and still communicate? You know? I don't know. I can look it
It
up.
doesn't they it's like this, telepathic brain waves, you can telepathically talk to someone in the Palladians.
Okay. The distance isn't a factor, is what
Distance
you're
is
saying.
not a factor. No.
Okay. Interesting. Huh. So and that's the way dolphins
That's the
so
way
so a
dolphins use
dolphin
20% of their brains.
really?
Yes.
Okay. What does that mean? I don't understand. So there's 80% that's unused?
Well, just think about the humans, they have 94% unused.
Okay. So you're saying the dolphins use a higher percentage than humans
Oh,
use.
absolutely, they have a higher love vibration than we do.
I'm gonna put that okay, dolphins 20%,
Right.
and then yeah. Okay. Huh. And we use 4%.
They're
Uh,
probably the most intelligent species that we know of, or well, that we are involved with. We are involved with some of the other beings on this planet that use even higher than that, but we just it's under scrutiny. It's being hidden from us.
okay.
But
Well,
dolphins, being mammals like we are,
I'd
use
kinda
20.
like because I think we're around an hour, and I like to keep the podcast around there,
Okay,
but what no, 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 hold on, Daryl. What I
huh?
wanna do is I wanna say less and see if I wanna make sure you say everything that's need to be said because I feel like, this is one of the most enlightening conversations I think I've had in my entire life there. I'm not even exaggerating. I talk to a lot of really smart people and we have these great conversations, but I feel like this conversation we're having right now is one of the best conversations I've ever been more enlightening. So I wanna kinda try to like I'm not turn my mic off if you want me to, kinda but I wanna if you wanna talk for another 2 hours, I'm fine with that. But I wanna just kinda turn the mic over to you, and if there's anything else you wanna say to get out into the universe, I wanna give you that chance.
Well, the only thing that I would really say is that the Dolphin Exchange is a living movement of unity, coherence, and love. And its purpose is to raise the frequency of the planet, is to change it from fear to love. And it's to take us from being separated, having different labels, being divided, being separated by flags, countries, colors, creeds, beliefs, and uniting us by hearts, uniting us by the source inside of us that controls everything that we see, the trees, the birds, the waters, the planets, the
Uh-huh.
universe. It's almost like what we all individually are is the complete universe in a drop. You know, the statement that We're all a drop in the ocean. We're all not a drop in the ocean. We're the ocean in one drop. Okay,
Oh, I like that.
that's what we all are collectively. Okay, if you would put us all together, we make up what everyone calls God.
Okay. I like that. Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, I would like to, I mean, let me just be a little bit more frank and candid with you. I
Okay.
kind of shared, what you kind of shared with me with a few people, and they didn't really dive in or anything. They just kind of, because on the surface, it seems a little wackadoo. I mean, I'm just going to be frank and candid with you.
Mhm.
But what I've really learned from this
Alright.
podcast is that, and really what I want to try to do with this is to really be kind of the exact same thing that Charlie Kirk was doing
Mhm.
was, have these conversations, have these deep, like
Right.
without judgment, just pure love. And I
Right.
gotta say, I'm blown away. I definitely think I wanna, I mean, if you're open to it, put, that in the description for that.
That's
So
fine.
as as much as people, you say that what people can do is really kind of focus in themselves as far as helping the collective, try to
Mhm.
tap into that. I feel like that was one of the call to action that you kind of gave to the
Right.
audience. I think it would be good for people to kind of look into this dolphin thing because I think there's something there that is intriguing and very interesting. So hopefully, I'm gonna put it in the, I'm gonna send it to you before I publish it, of course, and you can tell me to change it however you want. But can you kind of walk me through like I mean, how did you find out about this, or how did you have somebody tell you, or did you stumble upon it, or did the universe tell you? I mean, how did you come about that, or how did you hear about this?
Justin. I am. Sorry about that, Justin.
Well, please, Daryl, repeat what you just said because that was so valuable. So
Okay.
I can kind of repeat what I just, I said, the people I kind of talked to were like this wackadoo. So please repeat what you just told me.
Okay, the reason why people are gonna perceive it as wackadoo is because they've been taught the opposite of what it is. They've been taught the opposite of truth, and they've had so much belief, and it's the strongest frequency on the planet that it's looked at as being crazy when it's actually the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's why
well, there's some reverberation. How did you fall upon this? I mean, how did you hear about this?
so, Justin, I'm a philosophy major, and I went to 7 years of school and college, and I majored in philosophy, but, you know, and where do we come from? And where are we going when we leave here?
Mhm,
Of course, he couldn't answer that, and I couldn't answer that either at that time, but those are the questions that I had as a little boy, like 19 what, 66 or something like that?
mhm,
So, and then my life has not been, I'm not clouded by money or fame or any of that other stuff. So I'm not living in any type of illusion. It's been a struggle. And
mhm,
sometimes that's why when some of the real masters will tell you that suffering is grace, because it makes you look inward. If
mhm.
everything was all hunky dory, you had enough money, you didn't have to worry about it, you were flying around the world, trust me, you would not look inside. For what? You feel
Right.
like God yourself. You feel like you got everything you need. You don't need anything.
You're kinda talking about comfort. Like, if you're
Right. When
comfortable.
it's because when you get content with where you
Some people say that, comfort is the opposite of progress. Like, when you're comfortable, you don't move forward, you don't why
you
would you?
don't.
You're good where you're at,
You're right. You don't need all that stuff. You don't even care about it. But see, it's not 95% of the planet's not in that situation.
and it's getting more and more every day, I think. People aren't
Exactly.
comfortable. Yeah.
Exactly. So if you get beyond the illusion. Okay, you get beyond what you were taught. I remember doing a term paper in my philosophy class in 1983, and I did it on the existence of God. And at
Mhm,
the time, there were like 5.3 billion people on the planet. And I remember summing up my paper with there's 5.3 billion people on the planet, and 5.1 believe in a God of some type. And I said, either he exists or somebody's pulled the wool over everybody's eyes.
yeah,
Unfortunately, the latter one, he does exist, but someone's pulled the wool over everybody's eyes. And it's
mhm.
basically that 1% that control the planet.
Yeah, because they don't, and that's yeah, I was talking to my last guest about this kinda concept of I have a really hard and I hate to put people in certain, A and B binary categories, but
Uh-huh.
I like to understand people if I wanna continue something a little deeper with them, And what I like to understand about the person is if they believe that everything kind of just came to existence, like there is no like creator or boss, whatever you call that thing, if
Yeah.
you believe that everything just happened by chance, or if you believe that it happened from a creator. Because for me, this is just my own personal belief. I have a really hard time finding common ground with that person that believes that there was no creator. Because what I found, if you believe that there was no creator, somebody has to fill that void. Somebody has to fill that gap. And a lot of times that's the person that has that belief. They,
Well,
you know, if you don't believe in a creator, you kind of have to put yourself in that position of power, if you will, because you know what I mean? Like there's nobody higher than you. You are the extreme, you know what I mean?
they have
Is that
pseudo intelligence.
mhm.
They have a false intelligence. Okay.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's the same. Believing that there's no creators, they fall in the category of the people who say there's a flat Earth.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the same way that that vision's flawed, they go hand in hand. But all
Yeah.
that is being so confused and being so misled that you don't know which end is up.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of truth to what you just said.
There's a creator. Trust me.
Yeah.
He lives inside of each of us.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
I think,
and you know what, Justin? He's benevolent. He's all love, just like you talked about. And you know what he ordained us with? Something called free will. So you get to
mhm.
choose whether you believe in him or not.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
so yeah, yeah. That's so interesting about your paper in the '80s, you know, and about how, you know, it because any of the people that I do talk to about that, that believe that, you know, they won't say that they, you know, are on top, but
Mhm.
to me, that's the only I hate to say logically, but that's the only logical conclusion to me. So if you don't believe that they're, you know, you're not underneath, so you have to be on top then, you know, but it always seems like something else happened in their lives, something that they're not able to kind of, I don't wanna say submit, but there's something that won't let them give up the idea that they're not in charge, you know, that they have to be the top dog. I don't know if I mean, I'm kinda generalizing, of course, and I understand they're all different. Every single person is very unique.
Yeah,
We're
right,
all
right.
yeah,
They
we're all
really are,
unique
and
snowflakes.
yeah, and depending on what how they've been raised and what they've been looking at and how life is unraveled for them, I mean, there's a vast array of different impressions, opinions, and illogical conclusions that people draw, but that doesn't make them valid.
Right. I still feel like you're not answering me. You don't have to answer me though, but I'm gonna ask
Go
again.
ahead. Go
So
ahead.
how did you I mean, if somebody said to me, "How did you hear about the dolphin exchange?" I would say, "Darryl Atkins. He told me about it."
Right, right, right.
So what? So you didn't hear about it from one person, you were just kinda researching stuff and kind of, you know, understood the idea about dolphins can communicate with no distance as a factor and or do you not wanna
Well,
or I'm just curious how you heard
okay,
about it.
so it's not something I heard about. It's something that I
Okay.
put together myself.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that.
It's
Okay.
my idea. No one else has brought this
I didn't know that.
No
Okay,
one else
sorry.
has brought this idea up anywhere. It's my idea. But see, this is all I did, Justin. All I did was put together the humans and heart brain coherence can change a vibration or frequency on the planet. But if you add in dolphins, dolphins can magnify that. They can send it out into the universe.
How do you know about dolphins so much? Just
Well,
researching or
yeah, just researching. Anybody
okay.
can research dolphins and
Yeah.
see that and figure that out. And I
Okay.
just put the 2 together.
Yeah.
Okay? That's all I did was just put the 2 together, and when people look at it, they go, "How are you gonna get the dolphins to come together like that?" I said, "Let's get the humans to come together, and when we do, the dolphins will show up, trust me."
Okay. So how did you but I mean, how did you narrow in on dolphins? Why not another animal? Because
Because the dolphins there's no other animal like that.
there's no other animal that communicates that way.
There's no other animal that uses the only boy, you're gonna get me in trouble on this statement.
What? No, I don't mean to yeah.
The only other animal that works with that type of telepathy is Bigfoot.
Okay.
He's multidimensional. He's been
Okay.
on this planet longer than anybody,
Okay.
and
I
he
don't know any
exists.
okay. Wow.
Okay, so but he hides. He doesn't come around and hang out like everybody else.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
You know
Okay.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
You've
so
I wanna sleep well tonight. You really made me use my brain here. My brain is wondering, like, whatever many cylinders I got going on in my brain, they're running at full capacity right now.
we got you going on
So,
full we got you full throttle right now.
yeah, 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 that's good. I mean, so you've shared this idea with other people besides me, or
No, no. So Justin,
okay,
listen, I just finished putting together the website.
okay,
I just finished it. 10 people may know about it. Maybe,
okay, okay.
maybe.
Well, I mean, so are you okay with this kinda being? Because 'cause I'm sure if somebody, they'll come to your website, but, the thing about podcasts is they rank very high with all the huh?
Right. Exactly. It's not one of those ideas that are going, oh yeah, right. Because I'm telling you, the first so have you heard of Joe Dispenza? Do you know who he
Yeah,
is?
yeah, he's the guy, that cures people. He was, like, in a
Right.
wheelchair or
You know how
something,
he
right?
heals them? You know how he heals them? Heart
He
brain
would
coherence. Heart
Yeah,
brain
with the mind.
coherence.
You know how I
Okay?
know about that is I set up all of his platforms one time here in Indian Wells.
Okay, so what he was gonna do was he took 3,500 people off the side of a 30-story building in Canada, and he repelled them all over the side, all 3,500 of them.
Uh-huh.
That never been done before, that many people doing that, right?
Okay, I don't know anything about
So
that.
so he did that. Do you know who Stephen Greer is?
No.
Stephen Greer brought up a CE5, which is a close encounter of the fifth kind, which is
Okay.
you initiating contact with extraterrestrials. And the only way you can do that is through heart brain coherence. All I did
Or
was take what those two guys have done collectively and added in dolphins.
coherence.
And the reason why I added in dolphins was because dolphins use telepathy and they have a sonar and they use 20% of their brains. They also have the highest love frequency on our planet.
How do they measure that? How do they measure love frequency? How do they
The marine biologist that studies dolphins these are all, they're not my facts. They're not my facts. They're just things that I've read about the dolphins but the dolphins are very spiritual beings, man. Very
Okay.
spiritual beings.
Huh.
Um, ironically, there's another planet underneath the water right here.
Okay.
And if you know about the things that we know about and don't know about, one of them, here's some in philosophy, in the theory of knowledge, epistemology, there's branches of knowledge. There's known knowns, there's known unknowns, and there's unknown unknown. There's things that we know about that we know about. There's things that we know about that we know nothing about. And there's things that we don't know about that we don't know that we don't know about them.
Yeah.
When you look at a known unknown, the
Mhm.
things that are tangible in our hand, one of them is our brain. The other one is the far
Right.
reaches of space. Another one is God. And the other one is the depths of the ocean. We know
Mhm.
about them, but we don't really know anything about them.
Right. Right. But, I mean,
There you go.
yeah, I
There's
mean,
your
we know there's some sort of brain, we know there's something
we
in
know
our
we know
skull.
we have the
I mean,
brain, right? But we
right,
don't
we know,
know.
like that's what I was
Yeah,
fascinated about. Scientists don't know anything about the brain, and it's right
exactly.
there,
And it's right in
which
their
is
hands. And they know
yeah,
nothing about it. Right.
which is
Now,
insane. What was
the
the other
far
thing besides the brain?
the far reaches of space,
Far reaches of space, okay.
God.
Mhm. God, far reaches of space. Was that the 3 and brain?
There's four.
Okay, what was the 4th one? God, far reaches of space, and brain. What was the 4th?
The depths of the ocean.
Depths of the ocean. Yeah, that's another one. Depths of the ocean. Okay.
And what they're called is known unknowns. We know about them, but we don't know anything about
Known
them.
unknown. I'm gonna write that down. Hold on one second. Known
Unknowns.
unknowns. Yeah, known unknowns. Okay. Known unknowns. Man, this is good stuff. This is you're I like talking to you. Hopefully, somebody else listens to this. My second guest on here
Yeah.
was like, "What's your audience like?" And I'm like, "Oh, man, don't ask me that. I'm just starting out, but
Right,
the
right,
reality
right,
is, these what I'm, the reason I, kind of chose to do this is I was researching what things are put high, with all the noise out there.
right.
And from what I understand, podcasts rank very high if you have some sort of because anybody can do an Instagram post, anybody can do a TikTok,
Sure, sure.
anybody can do, but and people talk about doing podcasts, but there is a lot of podcasts out there, but it's a lot, less
Mhm.
than, all the other stuff, just doing an Instagram post is a lot easier than starting a podcast and, making it happen or whatever. It took
Mhm.
me, quite a few weeks to kinda get everything set and get everything going, so, I'm hoping that, the audience gets bigger because I feel like everything you've shared here is something that the whole world needs to hear,
Well,
you
what
know,
I've
and
shared with you is the greatest comeback of all time.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I wanted to
Okay.
talk to you about that. You brought that I had that on my note here to bring that up at the end because, everybody loves a comeback story.
Exactly.
So can we is that something you wanna talk about also, or we can kinda finish with that, or
We can finish with that. The greatest comeback of all time is the story of the planet. The planet's been under fear, it's been under separation, it's been under oppression, and it's been under a false illusion of reality for the longest time.
Okay,
It's coming out of that. It's about to unify itself. It's about to bring about peace, and it's to bring about love, and it's going to join the galactic federation of planets in our galaxy and be the greatest comeback of all time because it's never been done before on the level that it's being done on this planet. And guess who's doing it? The collective people on this planet. And that is really the greatest comeback in the history of galaxies. No
okay,
galaxy's ever done what this planet's about to do.
okay.
Because
Gosh, I like
once,
you have a lot of hope. I love talking to you.
it's the truth.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. I believe you.
It's the truth. What I'm telling you is what God loves, and that's the truth.
Yeah, okay. But you were talking about something about a book or whatever. Are you gonna write a
I
book about this?
I am writing a book about it. I got pages and pages and pages about it right
Have you
now.
ever written a book before?
No,
Okay. Well,
no,
I'm no author or anything, but, I have 2 published books, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so if you have any questions, not right here on the podcast, but if you have anything you need, you have my number. You don't hesitate if you get
Oh,
stuck.
absolutely.
Yeah, anything I'm not saying my books are great. I mean, I think,
Right.
they've sold 2 or 3 no, more than that, but, it's not like they've sold a lot, but, I had some messages I wanted to get out and I got them out and I did it. And it was a lot of hard work and I learned. I wish somebody had I think I could have saved hours of time if somebody was willing to help me, but I didn't
Uh-huh.
have anybody that, that was willing to help me. So,
Uh-huh.
if you need any help at all, please don't hesitate
Sure.
to reach
Oh,
out to me
absolutely.
because and not that I can help you write it like the actual words or anything like that, but just as far as all the things that have to take place before they're actually are you gonna self-publish or are you gonna try to find a publisher or
Well, I haven't gotten that far yet, Justin,
okay.
honestly,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
telling you, I was so caught up into transforming myself that I thought, you know what, I need to put all this down on paper, right?
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
and then when I really started looking into it and I got deeper into it, I said, you know what? The planet's going through the same transformation that I am. And by the time it gets there, the
Mhm.
book will just be a novel that people can read to edify themselves and, look at them humor themselves about a story. But it's more about the transformation.
Got cut out there. Oh, can you hear me?
Oh, wow.
1. Okay, we're back. Let's wrap up. Oh my gosh, Daryl, I'm so excited to post this one. This will be my 7th one, and I think
Yeah.
out of all of them, I'm most excited about this. So let me jump off so I can put everything together. But I
Okay.
wanna give you one more chance. If there's anything else you wanna add to this, I mean, I think it's pretty complete. I'm pretty
Yeah.
stoked, but, if there's anything else that we're not talking about, please let me know.
The only thing I would ask your readers to do is to quiet their minds and open their hearts and join the rest of us in heart, brain, coherent, and unity to help change this planet's frequency.
I love it. That's a great way to end. Okay, Daryl, thank you so much. Let me get to work, and I'm gonna send you when I have it, finalized here.
Okay.
All right,
All right,
thanks, Joe.
bro.
Talk to you soon. All right,
Thank you.
bye.
Bye bye. Bye.